What's up, everybody? Liv here. Welcome back to the channel and thank you for joining me. Today we're going to get into the Holosun 509T X2. All right, this is the enclosed red dot. All right, so before we get into it, I would like to thank Brown Nails for sending this over. Listen, if you haven't checked them out, please do so. Go to their website. They have parts, accessories, ammo, pews, all of your 2A needs in one spot. So thank you, Brown Nails, for sending this over. All right, I'm not going to do too much with this video. I'm going to go ahead and start, and hopefully it's short and concise and gets right to the point. You can do your own research for extensive information, but I'm just going to give you the synopsis of this optic. All right, so first of all, this firearm is unloaded, and we are reviewing this optic on the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 compact. All right, this is the M&P 9 2.0. This is my current EDC, although it probably will change soon because I told you guys in a previous video that I'm loving the 365 macro, and it might replace it. So here we are. All right, so let's get into it. This is a 2 MOA red dot. All right, it has a 2 MOA dot, a 32 MOA circle dot, and a 32 MOA circle. So it comes with 3 reticles. Okay, you have about 50,000 hours of battery life. Now, if your battery fails or dies, the solar panel up top will kick in and it will give you those extra hours of battery life. All right, as you can see, this has a very small footprint. It's a little bit different than the 508T, but with this, I think the footprint is a little bit longer. Either way, it's enclosed. So enclosed means, if you notice in the back, you can see the red dot right there. If you notice in the back, it's sealed up. All right, so that protects it from debris, mud, whatever, from getting inside the reticle and messing up your emitter. And when it's closed, all you have to do is just wipe off whatever debris gets on the window of that optic, and it's easy breezy, lemon squeezy. All right, you have the shake awake technology. Now, after about 10 minutes of inactivity, the optic will turn off. You can set it to an hour or 12 hours, up to 12 hours, what have you. But nonetheless, after about 10 minutes, it will turn off. If it senses any motion or it detects any type of motion, whether you pick it up or if you're within the vicinity of it and it feels that there's activity going on around it, it would turn on automatically. Okay, so that is the shake awake technology that Holosun is infamous for, and I love that about Holosun. Of course, it has the titanium housing. Okay, with that titanium housing, the optic itself is very light. Now, you can look up all of the specifics of that, the weight, dimensions, all that good stuff, but it's very light. It doesn't bog the handgun down at all. All right, it's almost as if it's not up here. Obviously, there is some weight to it, but it doesn't really affect it when you're shooting. By the way, these reticles are very bright, and you can control them by the controls right here on the side. I like that it has a plus and minus. So if I want to increase the brightness, I press the plus. If I want to decrease it, I press the minus button. You can also hold them down to change the reticles, to turn the optic on and off, to change your settings. You also have 3 different modes. You have the auto mode, the manual mode, and the safe mode. I like to do the manual mode because I want to adjust it to my liking and then set my timer so that it turns on when it detects any type of motion. All right, last thing that we're going to talk about before we get into the mountain is that it has 12 brightness settings. So you have a lot of adjustability of how you want your brightness to be, and it also has night vision. All right, now real quick, I don't want to get into all the intricacies of the mounting plate, but It does come with a mounting plate that is a little non-traditional than the average thin rectangular plate that we get with most firearms. It is rectangular, but it is thicker. Now, typically it mounts on a firearm that's cut for an RMR. If you have something like an MMP 2.0, for instance, which I have, it's not going to directly mount on this. So I had to use the mounting plate that came with this firearm, and then I had to put the mounting plate that it comes with, right, the Holosun mounting plate, in order to mount this optic. So if you look very closely, you have like a double mounting plate here. So let me see if I can show you on screen. So you have the initial plate that kind of protrudes out. Let me see if I can show you this. Right there, that kind of protrudes out. And then you have the other mounting plate right here that comes with the Holosun. It's very hard to see on screen, but because of that, the optic sits higher. Now, I could have put this on another firearm that had the direct cut for an RMR. The problem was when I did that, for whatever reason, the screws that came with it were too long. All right, so, and I didn't have anything to, sand it down or whatever. I didn't have all that. So therefore, I ended up using the plate that came with the firearm and the plate that came with the Holosun in combination with one another. Now, I'll get into the cons of that a little later, but if you're using something like an MMP, and I believe the Glock MOS system, you also have to use a plate with this plate in order for it to mount. Now, I might do a separate video about that because it did get a little complicated because I really wanted to use this optic on this firearm. So it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be as far as like the simplicity of it, but to mount it, it was simple. And as far as mounting is concerned, basically you have 2 screws that you will mount the plate down with, and then you would set the optic on top, and on this side, as you can see, you will screw that in so that it grips and it stays onto the optic. All right, so that was fairly simple, but again, I would like it to have been more streamlined. As far as the glass is concerned, the glass is clear. When you look through it, it's very nice. It's not a lot of bluing. It's not a lot of faint coloration. Of course, in the front, you can see where you have, looks a little pinkish. Sometimes it can look a little like yellow orange, depending on which angle you're looking at, or if you're using it outdoors. But as far as the glass in the rear, it's pretty good. When I shot it, there was a lot of recoil impulse, obviously from the gun. However, it didn't unscrew. It didn't loosen up. I have it Loctite down, so obviously that helps. Make sure you let it sit for 24 hours before you use it. The optic, for the most part, was already zeroed. I think it was zeroed for 25 yards. So I just changed it up a little bit because I wanted to zero it at 15 yards. So I did have to make a couple of adjustments, but overall, it was pretty zero out of the box. There is a side loading battery tray right here that makes it very easy. If you can see it right here, makes it very easy to load. Also, you can see your windage and elevation that will help you zero that red dot. All right, but overall it's solid, it's light, it's very easy to use the controls in order to adjust the brightness, the windage, the elevation, even to mount the optic. All right, so I really did enjoy this optic. Now, if I have to get into a couple of cons would be, number one, I think the optic plate that came with it could have been a little more streamlined. Like, it could have been thinner, and yes, it's cut for the RMR, but I would have liked it to be a little thinner so that it sits lower. I think the best option is, if you're going to use this optic, to just get it milled for it, because the optic plate does sit a little higher than I would like for it to. And then when you combine in another plate, depending on the firearm you have, it can get up there, okay, as far as the height is concerned. The other con I had is with the screws, okay? I'm not sure if anybody else had this issue, but my screws, there came like a couple of set of screws and they were the same length. They happened to be too long. And so I had to, it was like really weird. I'm not going to lie about it, but I had to go find my 507 C Optic from Holosun, and I found some screws in there and it fit perfectly. But the screws in here, for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe I got the wrong set or whatever. Maybe I did something wrong, because you guys know I try my best, but I could be doing something wrong. So I'm learning every day. But nonetheless, the screws that I tried did not fit. So good thing I have a bunch of Optics from Holosun, and those screws worked. So I was able to mount this up. Okay, so I'm not sure if anybody else had that issue, but Holosun, if they could have sent different dimensions of screws with this, that would have been great. If it's just me, then ignore all that, okay? But outside of those two cons with it, with the plate being a little thicker in height and the screws not being necessarily sufficient, that's really my only cons. Like, I think this is the best Optic right now on the market for a compact pistol. My opinion. I could be wrong. Some guys might feel like the Trichicon is better, or the Steiner NPS. I don't know, but I will say that right now the Holosun, I think it's the best because of the enclosed emitter. All right, and how the titanium body is small and it's light. You have the shake away technology, you have the different settings, you have the 50,000 hours of battery life, you have the side battery compartment that makes it easy to change your battery. It just has so many pros that it's hard to compete with it right now. And so, yeah, if I get another one, I'm definitely putting it on a firearm, but without using the plate. I'm gonna find another firearm that I like that would be easy to just streamline it, and maybe get a plate from a third party. All right, so that's it, and that's all. You guys let me know what you think about this. If I missed something, of course I did, because this is not a thorough review. This is just my opinion and a synopsis of this particular Optic. So let me know if I missed something, and let me know if you have it, your thoughts on it, and did you have any issues with the plates and the screws? Maybe I'm the only one, but anyway, thank you guys for watching. Listen, go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already. Please check out Brownells, and thank you guys for sending this over. And that's it, and that's all. So I hope you're doing well, treating one another with kindness, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Peace.